everyone, my name is Tori, and today I will be doing a review swatch comparison between two very similar products. The first one being the Becca Jaclyn Hill Champagne Collection Champagne Split Pans with the blush and the highlighter, and the second product being the new release from Tarte called the Blush and Glow, which is a blush and highlighter as well. If you look at the products side by side, you will notice they are almost identical. The Tarte one I got in the shade Peachy Glow, and for the Champagne Split Pans, or Champagne Splits, I got mine in the shade Pamplemousse and Prosecco Pop. So they both come in very similar packaging. They're each kind of a mirrored compact, so I'll do one at a time to give you kind of details on each product, and then we'll do the comparison, swatches. I have some similar shades from Becca to kind of compare against the formula and the shades in the Tarte one that I got. So this first one, this is the Becca Champagne Splits. It comes in the same flying saucer packaging that all the other Becca products come in, except this packaging is a champagne-y gold instead of the like kind of matte color that it usually has. These two shades were originally from the Becca Jaclyn Hill Face Palette, which was limited edition. And I got the palette and I really enjoyed the shades, so I wanted to go ahead and pick up the Champagne Splits to have these two limited edition shades. However, Prosecco Pop was released as a permanent item in the just in the full-size highlighter, but Pamplemousse has not been released as a full-size blush. So, I mean, limited edition, I don't know. Well, Tarte just released their own version of the split pan called the Blush and Glow. They come in two shades. One of them is more of a rose gold. It's a little bit darker, and this one is Peachy Glow, which I thought would complement my skin tone a little bit better. Has, again, the blush on one side and the highlight on the other. And it smells really good. The compact also has a mirror, and the outside is a reflective gold packaging with some pink and pink, different shades of pink dots. The mirrors are roughly the same size. I would say the Tarte mirror is slightly bigger. The actual compacts are pretty comparable in size. You can kind of see they're about the same size all the way around. I do prefer the packaging on the Becca than I do on the Tarte. This is just okay. I don't really love the polka dots. I just think this one's more it just looks more luxurious and sleek and chic. Well, I like this one a little bit better. I have the two boxes from the two different products. So with Tarte, for the Blush and Glow, you get 3 grams of product for the blush and 3 grams of product for the highlighter. And for the Becca, you get 7.95 grams of product total. So you get a little bit more product. Is that right? You get a little more product in the Becca Champagne Split than you do in the Tarte Blush and Glow. The Becca split pans are $38, while the Tarte split pans are $30. So there's an $8 difference. You do get slightly more product in the Becca split pans than you do in the Tarte, but I do think you get better formula and nicer packaging in the split pan from Becca than you do in the Tarte split pan. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch these on my hand. They're not shade dupes by any means, just so you can see what the colors look like. So I'll go ahead and do Pamplemousse and Prosecco Pop. So Prosecco Pop is a golden highlight, and Pamplemousse is kind of a hot, it is a hot coral. There we go. So we have Prosecco Pop on the top and Pamplemousse right underneath. Very, very pigmented blush. The formula is just like the full-size highlighters. I have one sitting right here. The full-size highlighters from Becca. Very smooth, very buttery, super easy to apply, can be very blinding, or you can use a lighter hand and get a slightly more natural glow. All in all, I think it's a great product, especially if you're traveling and you want to take a blush and a highlight but not have to have two, like a blush and a highlight. You can just have it all in one thing. I think that's pretty nice. It's the same size as the full-size highlighters. For the Tarte Peachy Glow, so on one side, you've got this highlight. It's definitely a champagne-y, golden-y, but more champagne-y vanilla than the Prosecco Pop. And someone is texting me. The blush is just a great everyday pinky beigey neutral color. So the blush for Peachy Glow is on top. It's got a little bit of a peach undertone to it, but I think it's a little more pink. And then underneath is the highlighter. It's a much more champagne-y color than the Prosecco Pop. As far as the formula is concerned, I do think the Becca formula is better for the highlight specifically. This highlighter is quite chunky. I don't know if you can see that, how chunky it looks in the pan. When you rub your brush around in it, it almost, I've only used this a couple times, and it kind of dug a hole. Like it comes off in chunks, if that makes sense. So it's a lot more gritty. It doesn't really look chunky on the face though. So when you put your brush into it, it's a little chunky. You put it on your face and it smooths out. It is a nice highlight. I do like it. I prefer the Becca formula more in comparison. The blush in this is nice. I'd say it's comparable to the Tarte, what are they called, the 12-hour Amazonian clay blushes. It's comparable. It's not as pigmented. Both the blush and the highlight in this duo is definitely not going to be as pigmented as the blush and the highlight in the Champagne Split, or just in general from Becca. I haven't really tried many of Tarte's highlights. I do like the Tarte Skin Twinkle Volume 2 palette. This definitely is a different formula, this highlight. It's just, like I said, it's a little chunky. So not my favorite formula for highlight. The blush is nice. I'm wearing the blush and the highlight mixed with something else today, if you can kind of tell what it looks like. But I wanted to do a couple color comparisons as well to some Becca products. So for this Tarte, I would say that this is a very similar shade to Champagne Pop. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch them side by side. So on top we have the Tarte highlighter right here. And then below that is Champagne Pop. Champagne Pop is slightly darker and has a little bit more of a peachy undertone. They are quite similar on the skin, but you can definitely tell when you apply them that the Tarte highlighter is a little bit lighter. I would say if Champagne Pop is slightly too dark for you, then the highlighter in this duo would be perfect. It's definitely a little more fairy. It's definitely fair skin friendly, this highlight on that side. For like if you're looking for a champagne highlight that's not as dark as Champagne Pop, I would go with this highlight. In terms of the blush color, in my collection, and not to my knowledge, I don't have a Becca blush that is the same color as this, but I would say something that's similar is Becca Flower Child. It's a mineral blush. If you look at them side by side, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Flower Child's definitely a lot pinker, but in my collection, I would say that these are that's the closest dupe I have from Becca for this product. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch them side by side. So on top is Becca Flower Child, which you can see is a lot pinker and has some gold flecks in it. And then on the bottom is the blush from the Tarte Duo, which is a little more beige and peach in tone. Especially putting it next to a pink, I can really see the peachy part of it. 'Cause on its own, I was kind of like, it's not really a peachy glow, but it has a little bit of peach undertone to it. So I would say if you have the Champagne Split with Champagne Pop on one side and the Flower Child on the other, I would say you don't need this. That's actually the color that I wish I had gotten. I think I would get more use out of it, but I figured I already have a full-size Champagne Pop and I already have a full-size Flower Child, so I felt like it would be kind of a waste of money for me to get the Champagne Split, even though it is more convenient in this really pretty packaging. Of the two, I prefer the Becca because I prefer the formula. The Tarte isn't bad, but I definitely prefer the formula of both the blush and the highlight in the Becca Compact. I feel that the highlight and the blush last longer throughout the day than the highlight and the blush in the Tarte palette. The split pans from Becca are still available on QVC and Beautylish. At least they were when I Googled it today. The Tarte split pan, I believe, is exclusive to Ulta, and that's where I purchased mine. I found it in the store. These aren't color dupes for each other. It's just kind of a product dupe. I would say if you have the Becca Champagne Split and you really enjoy the colors that you selected, you don't need to get the Tarte one. If you missed out on the Becca Champagne Splits and you can't find them online anywhere, then I would say sure, this is a great alternative if that is something that you were wanting to add to your collection, like a blush highlighter duo. I'd say this is a good one. I'm not super crazy about it, and I think it's just because I'm not a huge fan of a gritty highlight. that's all I have for this video today. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.